Hello, everyone, and welcome to this last interview of the day. Translanguaging has been a topic that many teachers have asked to learn about during this event, but translanguaging practices can't just be implemented like that from zero to translanguaging in every classroom. So the school environment needs to show that students' home languages and cultures are valued. And so to talk about this environment and how we can create it, I'm very honored to have Dr. Ellen-Rose Kambel and Miriam de Oliveira. So Dr. Rose Kambel is the founder and director of the Rutu Foundation, which is a non-profit organization based in Amsterdam that promotes intercultural and multilingual education. And the Language Friendly School is a school label and global network which unites schools that welcome all the languages spoken by their students. It was co-founded by the Rutu Foundation and Dr. Le Pichon from the University of Toronto. And Miriam de Oliveira is a PYP3 teacher at the International School of Breda in the Netherlands. She has been working there since 2018, and the school became a language-friendly school in 2021. It has now reached the ambassador level, so we can see all the changes that can happen with a language-friendly school. So it's a real pleasure to have you both with us today to talk about the language-friendly school, what it's like, especially how a language-friendly school network helps schools value and make the most of the students' languages and cultures. So welcome, Ellen-Rose and Miriam. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you so much to have us.
Thank you very much, Rushito.
Thank you. And so I would like to start by talking about how this all started. But so to start with, Ellen-Rose, could you tell us what led you to create the Rutu Foundation?
Okay, so I was born and raised in Suriname, which is, for those who don't know, a small South American country. It's a former Dutch colony. And after I did my law degree in the Netherlands, I went back to Suriname, where I did PhD research working with indigenous women on land right. So very different topic. But through this work in the Amazon rainforest, I realized what was happening in the schools. And I realized that this was not limited to Suriname, actually, but was going on all over the world. Namely, that children were being punished or excluded or discouraged for speaking their home language at school. And for me, this was really wrong, basically on three different levels. So first, as a human rights lawyer, it's about violating everyone's right, equal right to an education that respects your culture and linguistic background. No one's language or culture is better than or more beautiful than another. So secondly, languages are part of children's identities. So if we silence those, we silence part of who children are, and they start feeling ashamed about their families, about also themselves. It can create a deep identity crisis that can make it difficult for them to basically develop towards their full potential. And then the third is that it leads to disappearance of languages. So working with indigenous peoples in Suriname, what I saw happening and what we see all over the world is that with the language, we also lose unique knowledge. In some cases, that's been generated for thousands of years, really. And it is captured within the language. So there are examples of languages where like one word reveals for a particular insect or an animal, reveals a whole ecosystem around it. And we lose that language when, children are being prohibited from speaking their language at school, parents stop using it. So this for me is really what feels so wrong. And then I realized, not being coming from education sector, and but I met Professor Emmanuel Le Pichon, and realized that it's also a huge missed opportunities, because we have seen, and I learned that we have like 40 years of research showing that children learn better and faster if they can learn in a language that they know well. And so when I discovered this, I couldn't understand why isn't this mainstreamed yet in all schools and across curricula. So basically, this is I wanted to create an organization that basically supports schools and teachers to see languages as an asset and not as a problem.
Okay, thank you very much. And so you mentioned it was something that's global. Just to let you know, we have people joining us from Venezuela and Germany.
Oh,
So hello
great.
for those of you who are joining us live. And so you mentioned it was so in Suriname that you basically got the first ideas of why that kind of school would be necessary.
Right.
And Dr. Emmanuel Lepichon is in Canada. Do you think there is something specific to these countries that make language-friendly schools something that would be needed, or maybe it started better in these countries?
Not really, actually, because when we finally decided, we worked together for some years, and then we just developed this idea of creating a label and a network. And this came after we had visited schools in many different countries and across different contexts. And actually, everywhere we saw teachers struggling with the increasing linguistic diversity in their classroom. But we also saw that there were teachers who were already doing great things in the classroom with these languages. But they felt that it was not allowed. They would hide it from their colleagues. They would something like close the door.
Okay,
And so we wanted to empower these teachers. So this is why we decided to find a way to bring them together, but we wanted to do it in a sustainable way because there had been many pilot projects, of 3-4 years practicing with different languages, and then money ran out and the pilot stopped and people went back to what they were doing before. So this is why we were doing a lot of thinking and eventually said, okay, we need to have a whole school approach. The whole
yeah,
school needs to be involved, not just one teacher in one classroom. And also the parents need to be part of this. And of course, the kids themselves. So this is
okay,
why we created a label that schools can apply for. And then they become part of a network. And the network is really about empowerment and learning from each other.
okay,
And trying to find a way that is also part of our aim to make it sustainable, that we're not telling schools what to do, but we encourage schools to create room for all these different languages, but within their own context, with
yeah.
aligned with their own needs, their own priorities.
Okay. So yes, we're going to talk about how it works more in details a bit later. Just before I ask Miriam as well for her input, I would like to ask you just one last question. So when a school has a language-friendly school logo on their website, for example, what does this signify to families? So if I'm a family, I want to put my child in a school, and I see they have a language-friendly school logo. What does it mean? What can I expect from the school?
Well, as I said, every school is different, so they won't see the same things everywhere. But what they can expect is a school where all the languages, where the child's languages are not hidden or ignored, but welcomed into the classroom. And it doesn't mean that the teacher will speak the language or any of the languages. It means that the school has really made a commitment to value the languages, to find creative ways to use them in learning, and really to create a safe and inclusive environment. And it can mean that you will, when you walk into the classroom, you see different languages displayed, maybe welcome in different languages.
Okay.
So it can be different way. And I'm sure Miriam can tell you what it's like in her school.
Yeah. So, yeah, now we'd like to talk a bit more about the network itself and how it supports schools. So, Miriam, before we talk about how your school and the language-friendly school work together, could you paint us a picture of the experience that a typical student in your school would have? So, your school is a language-friendly school. What does it mean from the student's perspective?
Yes, so we are an international small IB school. We have students from 4 to 18 across PYP, MYP, and diploma program. Most of our families are internationals, so they stay in the Netherlands for some years, some years.
Okay.
Our last school year language profile showed that we had 60 different nationalities, around 60 home languages spoken as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes one child has more than one home language because the parents come from different places.
Yeah.
And our learners, they're surrounded by this diversity. So they hear the languages in the hallways. They share their own culture within the classrooms or outside the classrooms. And they see that it is celebrated in our school. So I believe that they feel not only respected, but also valued for who they are.
And they can really be themselves completely because they can talk about their culture but speak the language as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And so could you tell us why your school wanted to become a language-friendly school? Was there some sort of realization at some point that something was missing or maybe could be done differently? How did it start?
Our school always celebrated the students' culture. So we are a school that we love to celebrate. We love the events. We love the home language week. But really, we realized that it's not only about the culture, it's about the language. And we wanted to make sure that the language were incorporated on daily basis. So they would be open to do this in the classrooms as well. And we came across the language friendly schools and we thought, oh, that's an opportunity to get inspired, to have more ideas, to share, to learn and see what other people are doing and how they are incorporating the languages and not only the celebrations.
Yeah, okay.
Within the school.
I see. Thank you very much.
To make the language visible.
Yeah. So it started more by you already doing it and what are other people doing and how you can improve what you're doing already.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Ellen-Rose, so when schools want to become a language-friendly school, they're all, like you said, they're all different. They are in different contexts. So how does the language-friendly school cater for this? You said earlier that you don't want to say to schools that they need to do this, this, this. That's according to their context. So how do you ensure that you support each school as they need?
Well, we start from where the school is. So there are schools that already have a very strong multilingual approach program, and there are others that are just beginning. So we don't come with a fixed package, but instead what we do, we listen, like, well, what challenges are you facing? What goals do you have? And then we support them basically to create their own action plan. The schools really have to do it by themselves. If we would tell them what to do, it won't be sustainable.
Yeah.
So what we do is really to, we ask them to appoint a coordinator. So Miriam is the language friendly school coordinator. But actually we have now seen that it works better when you have a group. So not just one person, but a group. It's very important that the school leadership is involved. That is really the first, that is the one thing that we do require, that the school leadership is on board. Otherwise, it gets very difficult for one or two teachers to really create this whole school approach. And then it's a 2-year membership initially. And for the 2 years, the schools receive basically twice a year one-on-one support from our team. So they book a meeting with us. And then basically we ask them, okay, what is it that you're doing? What do you want to do? How can we help you? And we can put them in touch with another school. But just the fact, basically, usually we don't do very much. It's just the fact of being there And then the teachers, they will prepare for it. They will then go to their team. Okay, what are we doing? And that just helps. It gives a structure, basically. And what we have seen that once it's going, but it really depends on the school. It starts going. Sometimes it takes some time to start. It can take like a year. But after that year, they get more and more teachers involved. They see that it works. And then, of course, they have the opportunity to participate in the network meetings. We can invite guest teachers. We have an online platform with all the ideas and the strategies that the rest of the network has implemented. So these are not theoretical approaches, but these are things that teachers have actually done, which
Okay.
they can, decide to put their own twist on or try it out.
Okay. And I guess just one thing I'm thinking right now. So maybe people have the impression that it's something for international schools, but I know there are some schools that are not international schools, just normal state schools. How do you know roughly a percentage of how many schools are not international, but specifically international, but they just have a diverse student body?
It's actually only like 20% are international schools. Although
Oh,
we have many of our public schools who say we are an international schools. It is just when it comes to the population, there's no difference, the diversity.
okay.
So,
Oh,
the majority are very regular neighborhood schools, public schools.
okay.
Yeah, and we didn't expect at all, actually, international schools. That was not our goal.
Ah,
We're
okay.
surprised to see that international schools, and in the Netherlands, there is a difference between public international schools and private international schools.
Okay.
So, but we have like what the standard, what people think of these posh international schools are also part of the network
Okay.
and contribute, in a very important way. I think it's unique to have these very different schools in one network and really supporting each other. And that the schools can see, we can actually, it's not because international school have all this money, so that's why they can do it. Not at all. They can see they can do a lot of things which don't cost any money at all.
Yeah, okay. Oh, thank you. That's quite, I guess, enlightening because I thought it was mainly for international schools, but because they already have this mindset that we need to provide something for our international students, but knowing that it's like mostly other like state schools, it's good. It means that people already think of how they can support their students, even if they are not like they don't have the label international.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, what we've seen is that international schools, they have often this bias also of focusing on one language only, usually English,
Hmm.
and they want to broaden it, and that is why they
Ah,
come to the language friendly school. Yeah, it's not,
I see.
as Miriam says, the focus is they are open to cultures, but not necessarily the language.
Okay, thank you. And so, Miriam, I would like to come back to you to talk a bit more about your own, like your school's own journey about being a language-friendly school. So you started in the school in 2018, where it wasn't an international language-friendly school. Then you became a language-friendly school. Now you're an ambassador international language-friendly school. Sorry. Could you tell us maybe first when you started the first year, what were your goals? Because you said you're already celebrating your students' languages and cultures, but did you have any goal I guess you had goals you set yourselves, and what were the first ones? What did you do after?
I think for us, our first main goal was raising awareness of how many cultures and how many languages we had in school, we had in the building. And not only within the students, but students, parents, and teachers. Because we always have people that will believe right away, will do things right away, but we also have the ones that, yeah, but you speak English at school, so why are we talking about home languages now? So it was raising awareness. The main goal, the first goal. The next step was bringing languages to the classroom. And not only the culture, the flag, of course, the celebration, the events, but the language. How do we bring the languages to the classroom? And then we started to talk about translanguaging. Where do we use and how, when, how, why are we using the home languages in the classrooms? So we did this with small projects, writing a poem or learning words, greetings, so very simple things, music around the world. We then build up a multilingual library. So we have 23, 24 different home language books. So it's very small, but we keep working on that. And we kept on celebrating the culture and the languages throughout the year. A big milestone for us is that now everyone is talking about it. We talk about it. So we share in our school, we talk about it. How are we going to help these students? Are we using their home languages, their language repertoire enough so they can develop? And I like to think that when they come to school, any student that comes to school, they're not a blank page. They know things. They are someone. So how can we make this learner to feel that he belongs there and he's welcome to use and to explore what he already knows? Now, as an ambassador school, we are still learning, but we also share. So we open our doors, we invite people to come. We had local schools coming to visit just to see what we do, or one teacher comes or a group comes. They just come and we chat about it. We have a walk around school, and we try to, to make everybody love the home languages and make it open.
Okay. And so you first mentioned that your first goal was to raise awareness about how many languages and cultures there were in your school. So that was your target for year one. And after, so year two, you brought in the languages in the classroom. You opened a multilingual library in 1 year. I mean, the second year.
1 and something, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Once you have, like Ellen-Rose said, you are not alone in there. Once you have your support net, you can do a lot. So we have a team in our school. We have a team, our school team has a team within the language-friendly school. If we don't know where to go to or who to talk to, the language-friendly school, they will share with us, oh, but we know this person, we know this teacher, maybe you too can connect and see and share.
Okay. Oh, thank you very much. We got a question from Franklin. So he's saying, are you using the music as a way to motivate the language-friendly concept? This is for me a good way that I have been using until now. So, and I guess, yeah. How do you involve parents into this project?
Okay, music always. I think music, traditional music, or with early years, you can have one nursery rhyme and you can find easily the same nursery rhyme in different languages.
Yeah.
So, and the students like doing that. Yeah. Our parents, they're always welcome to come and share their culture, their celebrations, their language. So each class teacher, or on every unit of inquiry we do in our school, we try to incorporate a little bit of languages, and we invite parents to come in and share what they know. Japanese calligraphy, we had poems, we try to do that. So the parents also need to feel that they belong there, that they are part of this development, or the awareness is there and they are welcome to come.
And so when you say parents come, is it for primary or secondary? Because
Mostly primary, but with secondary, parents are also involved in a few things, but because it's divided in subject areas, I would understand. I do understand that it's quite tricky. Primary, for example, in 2 weeks, we have the book week, and class teachers are already inviting parents to come and read in any language, in English or a different language. It's all fine with us, and that brings the awareness, and the kids really like to listen, and they enjoy that.
Okay.
Yeah, we get back a lot from our schools, that and I think that's a difference between grown-ups and children. Grown-ups are far more how should we say it, they don't have patience to listen to something they don't understand. But children are open to it, and they can ask questions even. And they just accept it because they are used to not understanding everything all the time. And I think we can really learn from that.
Great, yeah. You have a congratulations from Franklin, who's saying great job. And I had a question for, I guess, both of you. So the Language Friendly School Network is here to support schools. And you talked a bit about, so you have, I'd say, network meetings, but also you have meetings like one-to-one twice a year. Overall, in a year, so what kind of help do you get, or what kind of opportunities you have to connect with other schools or with the language-friendly school itself? How is it organized per year?
Yeah, so we organize twice a year the meeting with the school one-on-one, and then we have 3 times, sometimes 4 times a year, a network meeting, online network meeting. And then every 2 years we try to organize an in-person language friendly school conference at a school. And actually Miriam's school was the first to host our first language friendly school conference. And last year we did it in Toronto at a secondary school. And these are really incredible events where, I mean, it's mainly open for teachers of language-friendly school, but it's broader than that. We also invite researchers, so you can really learn. And while you are in a language-friendly school, and usually the students are also involved, and it is really a big celebration. But schools really take their own initiative. They contact each other. We've had schools from Curacao in the Caribbean visiting schools in Canada, in Belgium. Also, I believe the school in the Netherlands was visited by a school in London. So schools arrange this by themselves. They have they get to know each other. And it is a very low threshold to set up a meeting, as long as, of course, you have the funding.
Yeah, I guess if you want to travel to another country.
Yeah,
the limit is
the European
money
Union does provide subsidy, so this is what they can what they can use. But well, you know, in UK we now have 7 or 8 schools, so you have a choice there, including one in Scotland. And several on the island of Jersey.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so.
Thank you. So yeah, there are quite a few opportunities. Sorry, Miriam, you wanted to say?
I just want to add that during the network meetings as well, we share good practices, we inspire each other, but we feel free and welcome to share our struggles as well, because it's part of learning, and the whole group is very welcoming.
I guess this is where you get these connections between schools saying, I have this issue, but another school saying, actually, we had this issue, we did this to overcome it, and maybe visiting the school to see how it's happening now after they overcame the challenges.
Yeah, no one is trying to reinvent the wheel. We are really just trying to support each other and, you know, inspired others as well, and just get better on what we are trying to do and say to students and families and teachers.
So what we do ask schools, for us, it doesn't really matter where they are when they join. The motivation and the intention is the most important. But we do want to see that they, you know, improve or continue from where they were after 2 years. But we don't require specific things that they need to do. So it's really up to the school. What is your goal? What can you do? And every school can do something.
Yeah. If they're part of the network, the aim is to enrich yourself and to get ideas so that you can apply to your school. So yeah, if you're just in the network and do nothing, there is no point.
Well, exactly. And we do see that, you know, that not all schools are as actively involved. And you really do see the biggest change with the schools that really come to all the meetings, that also present. We've also seen that makes a big difference. Sometimes, you know, teachers are a little bit shy or feel like, well, we hear this so often, we haven't really done very much yet. But then when we ask them to present, then actually they've done quite a lot. And the other schools are saying, oh, this is a great idea, I'm going to do it too. And then you see, oh, actually, because you don't really have a way to compare yourself to other schools. And that is really what we want to do, to really inspire and encourage teachers. And, you know, they see that it works, so keep going.
Okay. Thank you. I have 2 questions. So one is from Indy, who's asking roughly how many schools are there that are part of the network. And I guess maybe you can tell us as well. We've heard there are some in Canada, some in Europe. Where are they in the world?
We have about 70 schools at the moment, and most of them are in the Netherlands. About 40 are in the Netherlands. And then there are some in Canada, in the UK, as I said. We have a school in China, and then across Europe, Denmark, Germany, Spain. And then we have some schools in the Dutch Caribbean and in Suriname, an indigenous school.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. So that's really a lot to get inspiration from. But enough countries that we don't yet have. So Venezuela, you're welcome.
And so talking about other countries, we have someone from Zambia who is writing. So greetings from Zambia. Have you ever, so I guess this question is more for Miriam, but have you ever experienced a situation where you needed to convince families of the importance of maintaining their home languages?
Many, 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 many times. I was watching your interview before us, and Zach said that it's the question that the parents come to school and ask, so from now on, we speak English at home, right? Absolutely not. And the convincing part takes time, because it's not only saying, yes, please continue your speaking your home language. No, you have to really show to the parents why. And you show them with students' work, students' writing, students' developing of the school language. You show them why. I think that's the best convincing, but many, many times, and it takes long. It's a process of understanding.
Yeah.
Miriam, sorry, before I forget, she had a great example of a parent who couldn't quite believe that, you know, she could, her child didn't need to speak English. And I loved what Miriam told her. Do you remember our conversation about this?
Tell me, because I had several parents like this.
You said it is my problem.
That part. I
Yeah.
always tell the parents that.
Yeah.
Every year, when we have new students that don't know English yet, English is the school language, and they ask this question about, so now we need to do extra support at home. We need to teach some English words at home. And I always ask the parents, the only thing you need to do is ask this child to speak their home languages with me in class. It doesn't matter at that point, at the beginning, if I am understanding or not, but the child is making a connection with me. When the child speaks their language to me, it's my problem to understand. The pressure is not on the child anymore. It's my problem. The pressure is on me. And I need to try and connect and solve the situation. I don't know, it takes time, but the child doesn't feel pressure that she's not welcome there because she doesn't know the school language. So the pressure is on me. It's not on the child.
That's such a nice way to put it, like to take the pressure off the shoulders of the children and the parents. So you say, you speak to me in your language and I figure out how to
Exactly.
understand you.
I want my students to be talking to me. It doesn't matter the language. For me, it really doesn't matter. I want that connection. Without that connection, or having a child that's upset in the classroom because she or he doesn't understand the language, for me, it's upsetting. So I want connection. And the home language helps with that.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's something I haven't thought about. And
I see these little light bulbs going out.
yeah.
Good. Miriam is a fantastic teacher. You understand why they are an ambassador. It's cool.
And I think, as an example, I had early years for 5 years. Now I am in Group 3 in the Netherlands, or Year 2 in the UK.
Yeah.
But in the early years, you have this play-based environment in PYP3 now as well. And you have kids that come to school with all their home languages. And when they feel free to have this connection, to talk with me, it's beautiful because we have all the languages, and I have one student talking in German over here, and the other one comes and talk in Japanese, and we are making this connection and playing and trying to do something before we go and use the translator or any other thing that will support learning. But the connection is needed.
I'm wondering how this could transfer to secondary school, because like you said earlier, when they're children, they're used to not understanding everything. So maybe they're more comfortable to speak their language, even if they don't understand maybe what the other person is saying. But as we grow up, I guess we rely a lot more on meaning.
Yeah.
So, but it's a nice thing to keep in mind, when there are new students.
Yes, and for secondary students, they're teenagers, so they have other things going on as well. So they need something to use, a physical resource to use until they are confident to use that language that they have already. But also the teachers, they make connections in different ways. It's not the same way as we do in the primary school, but the connection needs to be there somehow, even if it's a translator pen or a tablet or a computer or something like this.
Yeah, that's true. It helps the connection getting established just by letting them speak their language, getting it translated by the machine, and you understand, etc.
Yeah. It's not as natural as a young child will do, but it has ways.
Yeah. Now I would like to talk about the different milestones. So, for example, in the International School of Breda, you became a language-friendly school, then an ambassador school. What milestones did you have to hit? And then, Ellen-Rose, is it the same kind of milestones you expect from different schools? Do you have some categories? I would like to understand a bit how this works.
I think for us, it was moving from awareness to put languages in the classroom and being a little bit more comfortable to use the languages in the classroom. So for us, that's a big milestone. We have also in our school a language support team. So it's a small group that will support the whole team with multilingual approaches, with resources, with connections. So I think these are the big milestones from a school perspective.
That's the milestones you set yourselves and that you discuss with the language-friendly school. And once you reach them, then you became a language-friendly school.
Yeah, like Ellen-Rose explained, it's all us. We decide what we want to achieve, what can we achieve, what are we doing to achieve that, and we share with them. Yeah.
But it's not that only after they've achieved it, they became a language-friendly school. To apply, schools can go to the website. There's a registration form, and then they can apply. What we ask is that they subscribe by, the minimum requirements of the commitment not to punish school languages, to welcome all languages, and to make a school plan. That is the commitment that you make to become a language-friendly school. And then what we ask in the registration, like, what are you already doing now? And what are you planning to do? That's just so we get an idea of where you are. And then we have this conversation with the school leadership. And then when the contract is signed, you become a language-friendly school immediately. And this is when you continue basically your journey of implementing your own plan, developing the plan, changing. And then during those 2 years, we have the conversations. We see the schools coming to the network meetings, participating. We might invite them, for instance, to talks like these. And it becomes very clear the difference between schools that really step up and open their doors to other schools to really share and be an ambassador. But that happens only after 2 years.
Okay. Thank you. We have a very nice comment from Eva, who asked earlier, who is from Zambia. She says, Miriam, I wish you were my son's teacher. He's bilingual Japanese and Spanish, but no one at school has asked about his Japanese skills yet.
That is just heartbreaking for a teacher to hear that. Yeah. It's possible. It's just beautiful. Every child is beautiful. Every language is beautiful. And the learning will happen no matter what.
Because I think we need to take care of the emotional side before we think of the more like brain side where you have to learn a language, etc.
Yeah. Connection needs to be there. The sense of belonging, the identity, everything else needs to be there. It needs to be in place before anything else happens.
Yeah. And we have another nice comment from Franklin, who is saying, in 20 years of working with teachers, this is the first time I've seen someone take the pressure off the children's. Excellent job. Thank you very much for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
I guess your network is also useful for this, is to see the kind of examples and hear these stories that inspire others, and that's going to spread. So yeah, hopefully what you just said, or this interview, is going to be watched by other schools and they'll be inspired by what you're doing already.
And thank you, Yoshita, for making this possible, because sometimes I speak to schools and they only see problems like, well, but all these languages and how are we going to do this? And I'm like, I wish you could talk to Miriam. Don't take it from me. There are now so many, and there are more Miriams.
Oh, I think there is also that when the labels, when it comes out as a language friendly school, the questions are also, so are you teaching how many languages right now?
Yeah.
And it's not about teaching all the languages, it's welcoming them, welcoming the languages in.
Yeah. And so I have a question, maybe to start wrapping up. But Miriam, if someone came to you, a teacher, and asked you, so is it worth joining the language friendly school network? I'm guessing the answer is yes, but why?
Cannot say otherwise. It's absolutely worth it. And like I said before, it's inspirational and it has practical support as well. We're there to share good practices or struggles. It's absolutely worth it. And I think figuring out things together with someone with like-minded teacher, it's also nice. It opens doors, and it's not about opening doors for us, is thinking about the students. What else can we do?
I think if I can add another point, what I said in the beginning, right? That children are that teachers were afraid to show what they're doing. That has, of course, a lot to do with the policy of the country they're in, the region, where in the Netherlands for a long time, teachers used to believe it was actually prohibited. It is not. The law doesn't say this at all, but they think this. And then it's really important to have like-minded people who say, no, we are actually following. Another good example is Belgium, Flanders, the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium, where right now there is a government that is very anti-immigrant, and only Dutch-speaking is allowed. And we have two schools, and they're saying, yeah, there's the politics, but there's also the science, and we follow the science. And we see, they've been doing a lot of things already. And they said, we see the improvement. So, and we want to have that recognition, and that we are part of a network of like-minded teachers and schools. Principals also, they are often part of a school board, but they say, they don't know what we're talking about, or other principals. And then it's nice to have, again, people that you can connect with and actually have a deep conversation and figure out, okay, what is it that you're doing? What can I do? What can I do as a principal? What can I do as a teacher? How can we engage our parents? So it doesn't.
Sorry, Martin was coming in.
I was hoping for the classic with the children coming all in. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And I guess so. Just to, we've seen that all what you do for schools and how you're helping children. If you had to say, so I guess you can choose whether you say to a teacher or a parent, but if you had to give them one reason why it's important for them to speak their home language in school, what would be that reason?
I think for me, it's that languages are the heart of who we are, who the students are, and neglecting that is trying to erase part of our identity or the student's identity. So yeah, and as a language friendly school, I believe that the students feel seen, respected, and valued for who they are.
Okay, thank you. Ellen-Rose, would you like to add something?
Well, school is about learning, right? And language is central to learning. And it doesn't matter which language. The emphasis on just one language, well, you know, then you, if that's all school is about, and sometimes in the discussions you get that idea, well, then you don't need to go to school. You can just follow that specific, you can just follow a Dutch language course. But it is about learning, and how can you do that in a way that is respectful for everybody and that actually improves the learning.
Yeah. Yeah, we've
So
seen this morning with Dr. Filippi that like he's done a research that shows how multilingual children perform better academically. So even if you're just focused on grades and exams, at least even for that, it's worth passing on your language to your children.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the evidence is overwhelming. But I am really happy to see that at least in the Netherlands, it is really changing, that there is now so much more openness to multilingual education. And the Dutch Education Council recently brought out an advisory report saying that the Dutch government should encourage multilingual learning. So that's really helpful, and I really do hope it will, you know, encourage more schools to yeah, to change their ways and their mindset on just, you know, one language is allowed here, because it just
Thank
brings so
you.
many benefits.
Thank you so much. It was a very inspiring interview, and I hope it's going to give a good insight into what being a language-friendly school can be, with the support that people can get. And yeah, so I'm really happy we finished on this good note at the end of the day. And so we have 2 more days of interviews about translanguaging, about neurodiversity, and multilingual literacy in general. So I hope people are going to join. But also in about 15, 20 minutes, I'm going to do a wrap-up session, a debrief of the day. I guess the main reason I do this is mainly because I know there are like loads of interviews throughout the day. So it's a lot of time for people to watch. So I summarize things so you know what you want to prioritize, if you want to prioritize one interview before the other, etc. But it's full of really inspiring speakers. So I invite all of you to join me on the next 2 days. And again, thank you so much for being here and inspiring us. So Ellen-Rose and Miriam, and for the great work you're doing.
Thank you, Yoshito. That's a pleasure.
Thank you very
Thank,
much.
thank you. We have muchas gracias from Eva.
Ah,
Thank
muchas
you.
gracias.
Thank you to everyone watching us as well.